Hey guys, it's Leo with Dreaming Tree, and in this video we're going to put together our butterfly paper sculpture. So as you can see here, we have the final result, and it does require that you have a 12 by 12 shadow box, and I got this one at the local Joann's. I used a 50% off coupon to save some money on it. And it's very simple actually. For the butterfly, we're using 3 sheets of white paper and then a backing color of your choice. So whatever color you want to make it is totally fine. So these would make great gifts. They're great to display any vinyl that you want to put on there. You can put a caption or someone's name or a couple's name for a wedding, a baby's name. I mean, the possibilities, not to be cliche, are pretty much endless with what you can do with these. And you really can't mess it up because it's just a single color. Now you can, if you want, mix and match colors and change things up and ink things and embellish. I mean, there's so many possibilities with this, but for the sake of the tutorial, we're just gonna recreate it as you have it pictured on the website. So let's get started. Okay, so in the case of our butterfly, some of the other ones, the 2 other ones, are a little bit different, but with this one, these 2 pieces are identical, okay? So they literally should fit nice and flush on top of each other, and that's pretty much it. It just kind of goes on like that. Now, if you want, you can try to glue this with regular glue, although I don't recommend it because sometimes with regular glue, it may kind of, well, it might kind of warp the paper a little bit, and we want this to look as crisp as possible. So what I would suggest doing is actually taking some spray adhesive, which I have here, and I'm going to do this off camera because I have to actually do this outside because I don't like to breathe in the fumes as they are really not friendly to the lung, obviously. Not something you want to be breathing in, but you want to take your spray adhesive and do your best to get this lined up on itself perfectly. Okay, now with the heart, there's another paper sculpture that we released. It's a little heart. I actually was off by just a little tad, but you know what? It's actually okay if you're off a little bit because it almost creates like a little shadow. Okay, so it's not the end of the world. So I'm gonna take this off camera and literally gonna place this on a paper towel and spray the whole thing, and then do my best to place it exactly over itself just to kind of create that double layer, and then we'll go ahead and show you the next step here in just a second. Okay, so I did a pretty good job of getting these 2 layers lined up perfectly. That looks really good, and it's 2 layers thick. And at this point, what we're gonna do is, and actually let me grab some backing paper. Let's say I want to do this in a blue. Just going to get that ready. Just pulled that out of my stash here behind me. And the next thing to do is grab your squares, okay? And the ones that I bought, they come in 2 different sizes. So you have really small ones for the fine details, and then the larger ones for the larger surface areas. And what I did was I started by placing these, well, obviously in the corners first, okay, and once I had them in the corners, I kind of started working my way around the border, and I specifically placed these larger ones in areas where it's not too thin, so I don't have to try to get it perfect. So like in this little area here, that one fits there nicely. You can get one there. And then of course, you also want to try to get them in these spots here. So we're trying to create as much reinforcement and sturdiness as possible by strategically placing these in areas where they'll fit, okay? So you kind of get the idea, and just do your best, you know, to find little areas. And technically, these little squares, you could technically put them all along the edge there. Okay, so once you feel like you've exhausted places where you could put these large ones, that's when you can move on to the smaller ones. Okay, and I should probably show you, let me show you, well, I can't because it's already mounted, but you get the idea. Okay, and then once you've exhausted the big ones, start grabbing the little ones. Okay, because there's a bunch of little ones on here too. And let me just go from the other side here. Okay, and then you can just place those in areas where it'll fit. So do your best to get as many as you can without going too crazy all over the design, so that just kind of visualize pushing down on it from the front and, you know, adding support where possible so that this thing remains nice and sturdy all around. Okay, so I will leave it up to you to decide how many you want to put. There's really no rhyme or reason to this, and I would definitely put a bunch of these small ones all the way around here as well. Okay, so you get the idea. You could really go crazy if you want and, you know, fill up every little spot that you want. I don't think it's necessary. I would say that I probably used maybe 4 rows of these small ones per project, and maybe that was even excessive, but I just wanted to make sure that it worked nicely. Okay, so once you have all that on there, we included 4 of these. You can use 4. I'm okay with just using 1. And I'm going to grab a pencil. You should use a pencil so you can erase this. You want to grab your 12 by 12 sheet of paper, and I'm actually going to stand up to do this. And take that 12 by 12, take this little corner piece and align it flush with the edge of your paper, and then put it down and just mark a little corner. Okay, and you're gonna do that on all 4 sides so that you know where to mount this so that it's centered. Okay, so you see how beautiful that already is? I mean, you could just do this if you want, but we haven't even started adding the dimensional stuff yet. So that's gonna be a real treat once that's all done. Okay, so again, you wanna make sure that you have this covered as well as you can. And then what I did, I found that using a little razor blade or an X-Acto actually made my life a lot easier when peeling off the other part of the sticky thing. Okay, and it just kind of helped me peel this stuff off a lot faster. And actually, I did use I used a little blade from my Sizzix to do this. I thought the razor blade would work, and it is. It may not be as precise as the little blade that I used, but you get the idea. You take those off, and actually let me take a few more off so that this thing sticks. Obviously you're going to take off all of these so that each one has the adhesive exposed. Okay, and I'm just going to pop off the corners here just so that we can actually get this in place. I don't need to bore you and show you me taking all this stuff off, nor do I need to bore you with actually putting, 50 of these down on the actual design. So we're just kind of skipping a few steps, but like I said, it's pretty straightforward. So then you're going to use your little corners. Okay, I only drew 1, but let me draw 2 more. And mine are going to be with a pen so that you can actually see it on camera. You're going to want to do yours with a pencil so that after you put your project down, you can get in with the eraser there and erase it. If it's still showing through, chances are it won't. Okay. There we go. All right, so you see we've got 4 little marks there. And then we just take the design, and it goes like this, and you do your best to align it with those marks, and then just push down until you have it in place. Okay, there you go. Okay, so you're halfway done, literally. Now at this point, it's just time to add some of the embellishments. Okay, so we have 2 butterflies. Okay, now the main, well, I wouldn't call it the main, but this butterfly here with these little pieces here is going to go here. Okay, just like that. And what we did was I took these wings and I bent them up, and then let me grab a dowel. I took a dowel and then literally just trained the leaves, or I'm sorry, the wings, and kind of curled them. Okay, and that might have been a little bit too much curl. You get the idea. Okay, so the wings are curled. You can curl the little antenna if you want, antennae, whatever you want to call it. And then of course there's a series of cutouts that you can kind of fold so that they stick out. Okay, you probably want to use your table too to make sure that when you bend these out that you're not giving it like a weird crease or anything. And then all these little flowers on the wings, just curl those out with a dowel. Okay, so you're just adding a bunch of dimension. And there's not a bunch of gluing because we've actually put the little hearts into the design. It's attached. Okay, so it's still very little work to get the maximum effect. Okay, so kind of like that. All right, and then what I would do is I would grab some of these tiny squares. Okay, and just looking at the body, just position those squares where you can fit them. And I actually, you can actually even cut these with scissors if you need to. If you want to make smaller ones, you can easily just chop right through them. Okay, so you see there. And you just chop right through these guys. Yeah, just like that. If you need to make them smaller, you can. I rarely had to do that, so it's not a big deal. So let me find my razor blade. Okay, and just gonna peel the backing off of this. Get that out of the way. And just like that. We'll take our little butterfly and just make sure that you match it up nicely, just like that. Okay, so there it is. There's the dimensional butterfly. Okay, so same process with this guy here. I'm just going to take those wings and fold them at the score marks, and then train them the opposite direction. And I mean, you can do it however you want, you know. So there's really no rules to this. You can make it look however you want. Okay, so you've got the little heart petals showing through there. Just going to kind of curl them on your dowel or whatever tool you decide you want to use. Okay, and again, we're going to put our little dots on there and just mount that right here. Okay, so I'm just going to show you where they go. Again, so in my case here, I would only want to put dots on the actual body of the butterfly. Okay, and then you can just mount him like that. And then at this point, let's just talk about where the rest of these go and how they mount. Okay, so let's do that. And this was probably the quickest one. And I think it's probably my favorite. So let's do that. Let's take a look at these flowers real quick and see where each of these go. Okay, so we have this large flower here is going to go down here. Okay, and what I did was I put little 3D foam squares here. You could also, if you want, you can take some Zots and probably put them on like a safe surface. And what I did when I needed to was I just put little pieces of the Zot in 3 different places, almost like a tripod, so that it kind of holds evenly, okay? So we'll just do that. And of course, before you put your Zots down, you do want to make sure that you curl all of these little petals in here. So there's actually 2 layers of petals. There's like an inner petal and an outer petal, okay? And I'm just curling these just to kind of bring them to life a little bit. And it's crazy how malleable paper is, because it will hold its shape. So that's really cool. Okay, so you kind of get the idea. And then you can just kind of offset it a little bit and just push it down. And there you go, okay? So then we have, and I really don't need to show you how to curl these because I've already done that a few times, so I'll just show you where these go. Okay, so we have a smaller flower like this, and that one's gonna go here, okay? So you're gonna do the same thing I did with this flower, but over there. We have this flower here. You're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna curl the petals. There's 2 layers of petals. Okay, you're just gonna curl them like we did. And this one goes right here. You can offset that if you'd like, okay? And then we have this large one, okay? And again, curl with a dowel, do that to all the petals, and just pop dot that, or use your 3D foam square and position it right there, okay? And we have a smaller flower here. You're gonna do the same thing, and that guy's gonna go right here. Okay, and we have another one like this with the pretty little heart-shaped petals. Okay, same thing, and then that one's gonna go here. Okay, we have another little star-shaped one, same thing. That one goes there. And we have this tiny little guy here, and he's gonna go here. And then we have this guy here, and he's gonna go there. Now, of course, you can move it around if you want, but that's just where we recommend it goes, okay? So once you have it all done, you literally, and let me do it with one that I have completed here. This is from another one of our kits. Let me move this out of the way for a second. So let's just pretend that this is our final product. This is the hummingbird, okay? And all I did, and I already have some vinyl on this one, so you can put vinyl on the inside or on the outside, however you want to do it. And because this is 12 by 12, and because we've figured this out, you know, and centered it, it's going to rest nicely on that little piece there. I've got those little clips keeping this from going in right now, just like that. And you're going to put your backing on it and close it up, and you're good to go, okay? So of course, yours will look like this. And as you can see, kind of just dressed it up with just some rhinestones, basically. We just added some nice rhinestones. You guys can jazz this up and embellish it however you want. It's completely up to you, and it's gonna look great. There's also one other thing I want to point out. There are some, let me see here. There are some flowers here that don't have centers. What we did with this one here was I took some of the cutouts from the other ones that do have centers, and I just placed them in little spots there to fill that in, just to add some dimension. You can instead put some rhinestones or some pearls or whatever you want in place of those, okay? So it's a very easy project, and it's gonna go together pretty quickly. It's actually fun to take your time with this because you really can't mess it up. So I hope you guys enjoy this project, and I can't wait to see your versions with your colors. And if you do make one, please post it on our Facebook page. because that seems to be where all the buzz is these days. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will catch you next time. Stay on top of all things Dreaming Tree and engage with us today. Get the latest news and enter in our giveaways on Facebook. Get inspired by following us on Pinterest. Be the first to see our new product launches on Instagram. Do you prefer Twitter? Yep, we're there too. Watch our beautiful product trailers and assembly tutorials on YouTube. For more information, visit www.3dsvg.com. Live, craft, love, and dream.